Welcome to Clothesline, a show where we string them up, put them to dry and wring them clean on the clothesline. He spoke. And when he speaks, the news media goes into a tizzy. Hell, even if he clears his throat, it finds at least a ticker mention on all English channels. And this time, apparently actually spoke. And thus spake he, I will not be lenient like my mother, but strict like my grandmother. Ooh, Congress slackers, be afraid. Be very afraid. There's a new prefect in the dorm. NDTV decided to have a full show on this earth-shattering, important statement.
Rahul Gandhi, the number 2 in the Congress party, in one of his orientation sessions has told partymen, don't mess with me, I'm not going to be nice like my mother, and there will be consequences. The interesting thing is, he said, he's more like his grandmother, Indira Gandhi.
True. He too has started as a Gungi Gudiya, so he's got the right start. Just hope it doesn't grow into the emergency Indira. At least he's got Sanjay's old gang still swinging with the times. Like the Rolling Stones, Kamal Nath has never gathered moss.
There was Sanjay Gandhi, it was a different India. There was Mrs. Gandhi, it was a different India. There was Rajiv Gandhi, which was a different India. So they've all functioned at different points of time, and even the country was very different.
Different India? What different India? If you can spot 5 differences in these pictures, write to us and we'll see if we can organize 2 hours with Rahul Gandhi as first prize. Second prize, 4 hours with Rahul Gandhi. Get it? And even if India was different, this man knows the art of surviving them all.
I think she's very compassionate and she's very tolerant. And many times she's willing to overlook indiscipline in the party.
True, she has been very tolerant. Look at all the things she has tolerated.
You didn't hear of any corruption scandal during Indira Gandhi's prime ministership. There's some Nagarwala incident and so on.
Maybe the media wasn't that active.
Nothing was proved. I mean, the media were quite active. Indira Gandhi faced, don't forget, it's before your time, right? It was before your time. I remember.
Yes, Ram. We all remember how we stood up to the emergency. But it's a bit hazy because the memories of socializing with the Gandhis and everyone from the oldest, like Khushwant Singh, to the youngest stringer were calling Sanjay a lovable rogue, are more vivid. The memories of reporting on forced sterilization, the Maruti scam, the horrific Turkman Gate incident seem a bit vague. But what is vivid are the dinner parties with the Gandhis. But then, I suppose, optimists like us always remember the good times.
Is his mother lenient?
I think she is soft.
She is?
She is soft. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi is soft.
So Mummy is a bit lenient, huh? Dadi was strict. But we're not surprised. Mama is lenient with Rahul. Guess that's why he turned out this way. Had she been strict, you could have done something with your life. Maybe been a little smarter, no Baba? Or read a little more? Mama, too much indulgento. Capish? Anyhow, you should know, Rahul, that Mamma Mia is not that lenient with the rest of the world, although most Indian sons believe that their mother's world is centered only around their son. Mama is not lenient with Tharoor or Patil. She's not like Mama, not even like Mother India, not even Mother Superior or Mother Teresa like. She's more like, say, Godmother? Yep, Godmother. That's what she's like. But since you feel she's merciful and soft and take your cue of leniency from her, we figure you should then take your cue of how to be polite from him.
I thought you had asked me a question. I am answering it. And if there are fascists who are interrupting me from free speech, then perhaps they'll understand why a sod like Narendra Modi has been disinvited by Wharton.
So bloody what? So bloody what? उसने ये कहा है, ये है कौन?
He's an investigator. He's the main investigator.
कि राजीव गांधी ने एक पैसा नहीं लिया? ये कौन है? इसको क्यों इतना बड़ा खुदा आप बना रहे हैं?
How to get your timing perfectly right for saying the right thing at the right time from him.
हम किशन बाबूराव हजारे और पन्ना से पूछना चाहते हैं कि तुम किस मुंह से भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ अनशन की बात करते हो? ऊपर से नीचे तक तुम भ्रष्टाचार में खुद लिप्त हो.
And you must get lessons on how to use science to make a compelling, logical and politically correct point from him.
लेकिन जो चिंता का विषय है, बदकिस्मती से दुनिया में भी और ये बीमारी हमारे देश में भी आ गई, जहां आदमी आदमी के साथ सेक्स करता, जो कि बिल्कुल अननेचुरल है.
How to charm the press and make friends with reporters from him.
Stop pointing at me. Stop pointing at me. Stop pointing at me.
How to maintain a clean image and steer clear of corruption from him.
The committee which is going into it will answer all these questions. Thank you. You're saying that there's a committee, but what Mr. Kalmadi? Mr. Kalmadi, just a couple of more questions. Just a couple of more questions. I'll answer all the questions. Mr. Kalmadi, just a couple of questions if you don't mind. I'll answer.
How to demonstrate your gender sensitivity at a time when the women's bill is being held up from him.
Sundari Sundari Mohila, highly dented and painted.
Poverty lines from him. And also how to be useful for 10 years and actually do absolutely nothing.
People have a completely wrong idea of what the Planning Commission or planning is about. We are not doing top-down, centralized planning, deciding things for different people.
It's all very well being an armchair advisor and wanted. I have seen for 30 years or 31 years of my public life, I've seen the Planning Commission in various roles, in various incarnations, with various interventions. And let's be candid.
Any plan prepared by a planning commission that doesn't believe in planning cannot address the concerns of the poor. The Planning Commission's deputy chairman has himself announced that he thinks it's important to radically alter the functions of the Planning Commission and indeed to perhaps move away from planning itself.
How to tell the truth from him?
I want to counter you.
Never tried to brush the whole thing under the carpet at all. If we had tried that today, the allegation that CBI is controlled by us would not have come true. Today, it is very clear to the country that CBI is an independent body working in the interest of the country.
And politics is all about gains and losses. So learn how to calculate losses from him. You'll never be at a loss then.
1,76,000 crores. It has come down to 17,755 crores. But actually the loss is nil.
तो ये कोल कहीं बिक नहीं सकता. तो अगर बिक नहीं सकता तो किसका मुनाफा हुआ? बिका ही नहीं कोल.
How to make the most sensible and compelling arguments from her.
You didn't allow Parliament to function and you're talking about me.
And finally, how to connect with the people and demonstrate resolute leadership from him. But there was serious news last week too. And I don't mean the IPL. There was a horrific attack in Chhattisgarh. Before we get to the horror of it, let's see the ridiculousness of its coverage.
There are two things, of the academic world. I very strongly recommend that Gunnar Myrdal has written a book, Objectivity in Social Research, where he said there is nothing like objectivity in any analysis. There are certain value preferences, there is a value position of an individual, there is a moral position on thing, number one.
Why are you quoting Gunnar Myrdal? Don't quote Gunnar Myrdal. I'll quote Kanu Sanyal to you. You know what Kanu Sanyal said? I'll quote Kanu Sanyal if you have the patience to listen to me tonight. Kanu Sanyal said, terror campaigns don't solve problems. A single conspiratorial killing cannot and has never brought change. Such actions will only cause harm to the movement and alienate the masses. Don't quote foreign thinkers. I can quote thousands back to you.
Oh yeah? Teri reading list, meri reading list se zyada obscure and intellectual kaise? Well, I can quote Chetan Bhagat, Ayn Rand, Paulo Coelho, and Deepak Chopra. Who moved my cheese wala Spencer Johnson? And monk who sold his Ferrari wala Robin Sharma. And if you aren't impressed enough already, I read poetry written by, wait for it, Kapil Sibal.
Please rid me of this awful load, preparing for the Class 10 board. My thirsty mind craves to create, not have exams decide my fate.
Arnab took a brave step in inviting a new bunch of guests to his show, some first-timers on a talk show, and they were academics. So we saw a bubbling cauldron of his usual army intelligence hawks paired with these aggressive but hapless academics. Madhu Serene turned out to be the best comedy scene in a long time. Miss Serene, instead of looking at the camera, kept her head turned to the right. Perhaps she kept her TV on, so she kept looking at herself, one presumes, and answering Arnab's questions looking at her TV screen. And what on earth were the producers doing? Look at the size of Maroof's face compared with the rest of those on the top tier. But the best was yet to come. In Madhu Serene, Arnab met his unlikely match.
Arnab, I think this is the first time I'm coming on your channel, and I may well be the last.
Come on, Arnab, that's got to hurt. What a mean old lady. How could she say that to gentle Arnab? But she wasn't done being mean yet. There was more. Count how many times Arnab has to cut in with a very relevant point.
So,
because they are treated as
so what is the link to Saturday?
And there are a
what
very
is the link
large
to Saturday?
Number about whom
no, what is the link to Saturday? What is the link to Saturday's
They vanished
massacre?
in the forest.
No, what is the link to
and
Saturday's
I think
massacre?
What Salva Judum did.
What is the link to Saturday's massacre?
Is it pushed all these people into the arms of the Maoists.
No, what is the link to Saturday's
and in
massacre?
A sense,
come on, lady. What does this have to do with Saturday, huh? Can't you hear Arnab's question? He asked you 7 times. Or are you ignoring him on his own show? Or are you dead? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. I've been told in my earpiece that she dropped her earpiece. Let's watch this again.
I think what we need to remember, oops, this thing fell out, is that we are talking of a context which has a long history, and the incident of this week, the absolutely horrific incident of this week.
Miss Serene, if you can put back your earpiece, I'll just come back to you. I think you need to put your earpiece back because you're not hearing my question.
Arnab, let me explain something to you. Using keen observation, you brilliantly deduced that she could not hear your question since her earpiece had fallen out. Since her earpiece has fallen off, she can't hear you say, please put your earpiece back in. Because if she could hear you, you would not need to say, please put your earpiece back in. But since she can't hear you, she can't hear that instruction either. So now, Sherlock, since we have solved that complex earpiece problem, let's get back and solve this minor Maoism issue. So Arnab, I hope you understand that. And in case you're not watching this, Arnab, I would like you to know
Madhu. In case he's not watching, then it doesn't matter what you say he's missing because he's not watching.
But at least he'll know what he's missing, so I should tell him.
But if he can hear you tell him, then he is watching in case he doesn't need to be told what he's missing.
But what if he's not watching?
Then it doesn't matter what you say to him because he isn't watching anyway.
Which is why I must tell him what he's missing.
Madhu, you're not making any sense.
Yes, I know. I'm talking to Arnab. What part of that do you not understand? Now, if you will clear the frame, I can get on with the show. Arnab, I'll say something when all these people leave and it's just the camera.
Then no one will be
and me
operating the camera, and no one will be able to see what you're saying because no one's recording.
Okay, Niku, step back slowly, go to the happy place. Everything's going to be fine. In a world filled with nutcases and loonies, thank God there is sanity and order with Arnab and Kapil Sibbal's poetry.
जो मेरा है वो भी मेरा नहीं है, जो पाया था मैंने वो भी मेरा नहीं है, जो पाया था मैंने वो भी मोरा नहीं है, जो सोचा था मेरा वो भी मेरा नहीं।
अंधेरे की हिरासत में अंधे हुए, बीज नफरत के आदत से बोने लगे, बर्बादी की राह पर सब चल दिए, जलते जलते चिराग भी बुझने लगे.
Now, all the TV channels, you might want to reflect upon the kind of images that you unabashedly beam across the country or even the world. When the ghastly Chhattisgarh massacre was reported, every channel had images of a wounded man lying in a hospital bed, bleeding and naked. Would you beam such an image of someone you knew? Would you beam such an image of someone your bosses knew? Or does the anonymity of an Aam Aadmi or a nobody give you carte blanche to show absolutely no regard for a person's dignity? There are millions of things wrong with the West and Western values, but there's much to learn too. Since each channel that you turn to is a mini cheerleader for FDI everywhere, including news, you might want to import some ethics from Western media too. No blood, no gore. Has anyone seen a picture of President John Kennedy's body right after he was shot? They existed, but we did see Rajiv Gandhi's. What does that tell us? News and information can be delivered without compromising basic human dignity. All the channels showed the clip of the wounded without any clothes on. Whatever your politics, if there is no respect in death and injury, the media only demeans itself. Also last week, predictably, NDTV helped UPA celebrate their 9th anniversary. Like one big happy family that they so obviously are.
We do believe that politicians should also learn to laugh at themselves. I want Ravi and Manish to say in one line, do you believe politicians can laugh at themselves? Manish, to you first and then to Ravi. Do you believe you can laugh at yourself?
No, Barkha. Politicians have learned that a long time ago. It's journalists who need to learn to laugh at themselves. Here's a question to you and all other journalists. Have you learned to laugh at yourselves?
But let me tell you, Barkha, that this government is probably the best dream government for a cartoonist. I have actually thoroughly enjoyed UPA 1 and UPA 2 even better. Because this government is a dream government for a cartoonist.
If he grinds his teeth anymore, his enamel will come off. Have you seen a more pained smile?
First to Manish and Ravi, if we can get to present to them what Sudhir has done for you. First to Ravi Shankar Prasad, if we can go in and present to both of them, because we have decided that in all this heated debate, we need politicians to laugh at themselves.
What a wonderful way to celebrate the 9th anniversary. A new, unique concept where a cartoonist does a visual representation of the debate. Never seen before. Wait, someone's saying something in my earpiece. Oh, okay, sorry. It's a rip-off of a show from Z in which during the course of the news bulletin, cartoonist Irfan would make an illustration. But as Anu Malik says, nothing is original. Speaking of politicians learning to laugh at themselves, Manish Tiwari gave us yet another reason to laugh at him. Comedy Central was taken off the air for a few days for depraving people, denigrating women, crudely referring to sex organs, close quote. So go sit in the corner for 10 days. No dessert for you, Comedy Central. And of course, Congress will not tolerate denigrating women on TV.
I think it's not only important to laugh at yourself, but it's also important to make people laugh. Yes. And I think maybe on some of your shows, nightly, we've made a lot of people laugh.
Now that is correct. Now to someone who gives us nothing to laugh about. Mamata Banerjee has made her intention of buying the defunct Sharda Chit Fund-owned Tara news channel. This means people in Bengal smoked a lot of cigarettes over the last month.
আমরা 10% সিগারেটের উপর ট্যাক্স বসাবো। এতে আমি কিছুটা টাকা পাবো। কিছু হবে না, একটু সিগারেটের দাম বাড়বে, আপনারা একটু বেশি করে সিগারেট খাবেন, তাহলে টাকাটা মতো তাড়াতাড়ি পেয়ে আসবে।
We've all heard of paid news, but this is just ridiculous. From Ma Mati Manush to Ma Mati Media, way to go, Didi. Just one thing, dear reporters, here's how she treated you when you weren't her employees. With Mamata as your boss, you have our sympathy. And one more thing, Mamata Di, we at News Laundry make no money, have not generated any revenue. But if we're sinking, let us die. Don't do anything to save us.
When Times Now posed the tough question again to Dhoni, we were blocked. An absolute disgrace as the media was censored by the BCCI.
Somehow the Times Now reporter thought it was all about him. Times Now was not silenced. The media was not silenced. It was about how poor Dhoni had been silenced by the BCCI. It's not about you, babes. Get your story straight. And one more thing. Your favorite Page 3 paper had an almost half-page story mocking Mallika Sherawat's obviously fake accent in an interview to Variety. Sure, it was a bit off, but a half-page story? Just because she's Bollywood's B team? So it's fair game? There are way more fake and bizarre accents that we never see any stories on. Until now.
I was the first actress in India to kiss on screen and wear a bikini. Imagine in this 21st century, and instantly I became a fallen woman. Women are really at the bottom of the society.
I don't think there's any lack of clarity today.
An English princess with a Welsh title leaves a French hotel with her Egyptian companion who has supplanted a Pakistani.
Counter-terrorism, nuclear proliferation. These are vast areas of concern in the world.
I did everything that I'm not supposed to do.
Incidentally, the BJP at that time was pro-reform, pro-FDI, the opposition was not. This is normal.
Dirty politics.
She's driven in a German car with a Dutch engine.
It's depressing.
Whatever reason, you get growth. Each 10% depreciation of
David Lynch's daughter
helps the current account move by 0.4.
They are chased by Italian paparazzi on Japanese motorcycles.
At the same time.
This is like saying that when taxis were introduced, the share of Tongas went down.
Because
it cannot be symbolic anymore. We got to kiss on screen.
I think that's completely wrong.
And now, before I wrap up, here's a question for all our viewers who keep asking us, what is your revenue model? How are you doing this? Why are you doing this? How do you make money? We don't. Yet. We just spend our hard-earned money to keep News Laundry going. We believe there is another model for free news. It's when you, yes you, pay for it. Because freedom has a price. Either corporations and advertisers pay for content, or then you do. Write in and tell us which direction we should go in. Should we start selling banner space and become advertiser funded? Or do you think regular people like you would pay for news? Write in and tell us your views, because we would really like to know. That's a wrap for this week. Till next week, we'll keep track of you while you keep track of what's happening. If you have any moments from journalism which made you go, oh wow, or oh shit, email them to us and tweet to us. Be the change, stay connected, stay online.